We're joined on Highland League Weekly by a familiar face in the Highland League over the past two decades who's decided to hang up his boots. It's Neil Gauld. Neil, you've starred in the Highland League for Inverurie Locos, for Martin United, Huntly, Banks AD, Turriff United, and you've decided to retire. Just tell the viewers why you've or why you feel that now's the right time.
I've kind of decided to retire, mainly probably for family reasons. Obviously, my wife just had their first kid, so and just over the last couple of seasons, I probably haven't played as much as I would like, whether that be injuries or whatever. This season's been a bit not the best, to be honest. It started first game of the season, scored two against Locos, and thought this is going to be a good season for me. I got injured at that game, and to be honest, I've struggled ever since to kind of get a good run of games. So because of that, I've kind of just decided to call it a day. I think the legs are getting a wee bit sore every time I play as well, so that comes into it as well.
That's perfectly understandable. And I mean, over your time, 363 goals you've scored at the level. And you look back over sort of the 2 decades involvement you've had in the Highland League. What have been the highlights for you, Neil?
Highlights is the cups I've won. The 2 Highland League Cups with Locos at the start under Dave Cormie. That was a good start, and we had a really good team at that point. They were definitely a highlight. The Aberdeenshire Shield up at Huntly against Turriff, I think it was. Got man of the match that game, so that was a highlight. And personally, the hat-trick in the Scottish Cup, the 8 goals against Strathspey for Martin, and the top goal scorer award is probably one of the best as well. The season that I've got top goal scorer, Mitch Megginson, was player of the year, and that was his last season in the Highland League. So to score more goals than him, I couldn't have been doing a lot wrong that season.
You mentioned the hat trick in the Scottish Cup, and for folk that maybe weren't aware, obviously it was a few years ago against Clark for Inverurie, and it maybe, should we say, it maybe hasn't been officially verified, but you feel it's the fastest hat trick in the history of the Scottish Cup, do you?
Yeah, I think when it happened, they tried to see if there was any history of a quickest hat trick, and there wasn't actually anything in the SFA archives for it. And I'm not sure that the game was actually recorded at that point. So it can't officially be done, but I think Billy Thompson had all the information for it, and we kind of just said that was the official hat trick for it. So there was nobody that's done it any quicker anyway. I don't think there's a specific time that I did it. I think it was 5 minutes 50 or something, but it's maybe a few seconds here or there.
Maybe, but still lightning quick, clearly for a treble. And speaking about goals as well, Neil, is it something you probably take a lot of pride in? Clearly the number of goals you scored at Highland League level, because you're up in the sort of, there's maybe a few boys with more than you in the sort of history of the league, but you're up there in the sort of top echelon in terms of goal scorers in the whole history of the Highland League.
Yeah, to be honest, I can't really believe that I'm that high. Looking at the players that I've played against and with, there's certain players that are better players than me that haven't scored as much. I think I'm 4th in all time as far as I'm aware. And coming into the league, as I say, played against and with players like Cammy Keith, Connor Gethins, earlier on, Kenny Cool, Mike McKenzie, Ian Murray, Martin Johnson, people like that. To the end of my career, to have scored more Highland League goals than them, I can only be proud of that fact.
And just a last one for you as well, Neil. You've obviously hanging up the boots. Is there any thoughts about sort of coming back into the game in a coaching capacity or anything like that?
I would never say never, but I wouldn't have thought so. I think I'd be probably the most surprised out of everybody if I decided to end up being a coach or a manager. If something fell on my lap at the perfect time, then I maybe would. But I'm pretty sure that's me. And until maybe kids grow up, and I'll do a coaching job for a kids football team or something. But as far as I'm concerned, that's kind of me done.
Well, it's been a terrific career, Neil, and I'm sure there's loads of Highland League fans have enjoyed watching you over the years. So congratulations on that. And you mentioned obviously winning the Highland League Cup twice with Locos and once with Banks of D last season. And while we've got you here, we'll get you to give us a wee preview of the upcoming GPH Builders Merchants Highland League Cup Final. It's Brora against Fraserburgh at Harlow Park in Inverurie, which you obviously know well. And looking at Brora, first of all, what do you sort of see as their strengths, Neil? What impresses you about Brora?
Brora are a very good footballing side. I would go as far as saying they're probably the best team at keeping possession of the ball. I think Dale Gillespie in the middle of the park's integral to that. A lot of their players have been there and done that, but they've got a few younger guys as well that have come from the Cali and Ross County kind of side. So they've got a good mix. And Jordan McRae, I think's banged in a heap of goals this season again. So they're definitely a strong team. And as I say, I think their middle of their park will determine how their day will go.
The thing with what you've said about Brora there as well, Neil, they're a team that's used to winning silverware, aren't they? Over the sort of last decade or so, they've been consistent winners.
Yeah, they sure have. Can't remember how long ago it was, but they were the team. They were winning everything at one point. It seemed they kind of tailed off, but they've still got a very good side there, and a lot of their players will know what it takes to win. I'm pretty sure they'll have won the Highland League Cup, a few of them as well, so they'll know what it takes.
And in terms of their opposition, Fraserburgh, what do you see as their strengths? What do you think they are sort of good at?
Well, they've been a very good cup team over the years. They went and won the league last year, but in years gone by, they've normally been better in the cups than they have the league. They kind of seem to know how to win a knockout competition. I think they're very direct, and they'll look to play it forward as quick as possible to Butcher and Barber. So I think their attack is probably their best part of their team. And if Sean Butcher and Scott Barber are on form, then that'll be a good thing for them.
You mentioned, again, I was going to say as well, Fraserburgh, obviously, as you've touched on, another team used to winning. And what you said about Brora's midfield, do you maybe feel the middle of the park in that area and what, how Fraserburgh maybe press or how they get to grips with the game could be a sort of key factor in deciding the final?
Yeah, definitely. I think they're two completely different teams. So Brora like to get it down and pass it and make it more of a tactical kind of game, and Fraserburgh will be more in their face and getting it forward quickly. So it will determine, I think Fraserburgh will try and push them forward and force them to play the long ball, and Brora might actually hold back with Fraserburgh and kind of let them have it. But I think each manager will have their own tactics. So it'll be an interesting game because they're two definitely different teams. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top.
And just lastly, Neil, from a player's point of view, you've been there and done it. What does it mean to Highland League players to win the Highland League Cup?
It's definitely the most important one. I've been in a lot of good teams. I won two early on in my career, and then I don't even think I was maybe in one final from then to the one that we won with Banks ID last year. So it's a cup that's actually very hard to win, I would say. There's not a lot of people that have won it a lot of times. So it's one that everybody will be looking to win, because you don't get a lot of opportunities to win that cup. So they'll definitely be up for it.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us, Neil, on Highland League Weekly, both about your career and about the cup final on Saturday. Appreciate you coming on, and enjoy your retirement.
No problem at all. Thank you very much, and thank you to all the players and managers and supporters in the Highland League. Over my 20 years, I've got a fair bit of stick from a few of them, but I think that's the good thing about the Highland League. It's all in good jest. There's never nothing too serious, and I can always take a laugh. So it was a pleasure to be in the league for that long.